Alright, it is 9:16 a.m., 12/22/21. I'll be honest, I'm a bit tired today. Was not able to sleep. I knew I wasn't going to be able to sleep when it was around 10, 11, 12, so I said, let me go ahead and keep studying. I finished watching Answer Stock, which was good and bad because now I have no more of those DVDs to watch. I might actually consider buying an entire set off of a Trading Challenge student on eBay so then I can watch the older ones. But it seems like after Answer Stock in 2014, all of the seminar, Trader Summit, whatever you call it, all of those events are now just online, so I don't think there was an actual DVD made of those. Same goes with any DVDs made after that time period, I think, like Spikeability. So I don't think I'll be able to get much more education. I've applied to the Trading Challenge twice. I don't know if maybe I have to just use a different email address or whatever, but it didn't work out. CLSN looks like it's trying to break this 350 level, which would be pretty impressive because it is like some major resistance here. And now I have Speakeys. Let me just type in. I'm not trying to trade it, just to have it ready in case I do. But CLSN, the good thing about it now that since not yesterday, the last trading days, I can trade 10, 20, 30 shares, something ridiculously small. So if I really feel like that pattern is good, the odds are good, but I'm just too scared for whatever reason, I can trade 10, 20, 30 shares, and depending on the price, I might be trading with just $100, which is absolutely nothing. It goes up 10%, right? I make $10, but that's very little. It's just to learn, just to practice, just to get experience in. But yeah, CLSN is a first day green day. Although I don't like this kind of a range it's had here. It could definitely get sold into because of all the volume traded previously. People selling into this. It looks like a sushi chart. 350 definitely gonna be a level of resistance. It's trying to break it. It could definitely do it. It's putting up higher lows and higher highs. Of course, not compared to here. It could also make like a head and shoulder. So we got a shoulder here, and then a head kind of breaks the level. But if it breaks it here, it'll be kind of a waste just because it's pre-market. It would be better to wait for the market open because it would have more power. It would crack it the first time. Yeah, it would crack it the first time at the market open. That could create a lot of movement. Maybe it won't last, but it could create a lot of movement in the meantime. RETO is another first day stock. This one's up a bunch more. Unfortunately, it's a bit sketchy, but XELB is probably the worst. This is the one I'm probably going to remove just because it's been sold off majorly since pre-market. It's kind of traded in this range right here. I think I'm going to start keeping track of these, like the ones that break out of a range like this, or not really a range, just this isn't range. This is what I call blow, when it just kind of blows off of an uptrending movement, just kind of like a big short squeeze. So I feel like these things are not really good for longs, maybe even short. But the problem is that it's been sold off so much already. Like, how much lower can it go? So yeah, I'm actually gonna remove XCLB. I have to make a note to look back, see how it did, but I should probably start keeping track of these first day stocks just to be with more information behind me as to how they tend to trade. So that's all I got for right now. I'll be looking at OTCs as well for number 5 setups. I just can't be scared. I gotta learn to do this, and I have a nice flattened position button, so something goes crazy, I can click that button and I get out of any or whatever positions. And I think that's a great thing. I think that will help with my under trading, because whatever reason I get too scared, I just have to keep working on it and keep getting better. So yeah, that's all I got for right now. Could be a nice day. We'll see. Overall markets are down almost 1%, so it might have an effect on these stocks as well. I could consider shorting, but maybe not. And I don't think TD Ameritrade really will have these shares ashore if I wanted to, but yeah, I'll definitely keep looking. Alright, it's 9:24 a.m. I actually considered dip buying here, but then I thought, well, it could be well, not here. Then I thought, well, it could be making a head and shoulders. Said, alright, maybe a bit of uptrending head and shoulders. And now when it broke, I was just too slow. I think probably should have reacted quicker. And one of the things also keeping me from trading this, is just because that there were a lot of people who were on the level 2, although not too bad, and there's a lot of a lot of red action, so I'm gonna imagine lots of shorts getting their shares, or just people selling into this spike who have been holding any of these other days. I would guess more on the short side. People like seeing action. People like seeing, things keep running. They don't really want to sell until everything is falling, like the Titanic ship is sinking. That's when they all panic. But when it's making this nice run up, people, I don't think people really want to sell. At least most people don't. They who trade based off of the momentum. I think those were really shorts getting their shares in. So yeah, 925. A bit unfortunate that they got already an attempt at spike. So I'm sure some people who were waiting for this, went ahead and bought pre-market, and now if it does it at the market open, they might be less inclined to buy it. But I'll just keep looking. That's a pretty impressive stock so far. I like the price action. RETO is a bit choppier. I don't like it too much. Nothing clear that I want to trade. Maybe this is a type of stock that'll make an inverse head and shoulders. I don't know. I'll just have to keep looking. I know that I say that phrase a lot, but that's all you can do is just wait for the right setups, and I don't see any right now, although I could have potentially have bought some here in this candle, but my fear would have been that I would have to cut losses at 28 breaking, so I don't want to risk that much. I know it sounds stupid, but I'm still getting the hang of this. Nice breakout though towards the 50s. It didn't last, but we'll see. I think it's definitely scaring some shorts. Shorts would rather, trend a little lower, I think, but I don't know. Nothing right now. Okay, it's 9:28 and big red candle. Pretty impressive. Lots of volume. Let's see how much volume this is. It's almost 2 million shares of volume. And it definitely just broke out of the range. It looked strong, this whole movement, until it didn't. Big red candle. Somebody sold a lot of shares or some short. Just dumped his position on the bid to try to bring it down and scare all the people who are in the stock. Again, I guess that's why you play these things very cautiously. This is why you don't really trade pre-market as much. Unfortunately, I've missed some very nice setups by not trading pre-market stocks that decide to break out and make a nice move, and this wouldn't be too bad of a dip buy here, but and then it actually starts moving at the market open with the breakout I did pre-market. So I try not to miss those, but yeah, a bit spooky here, but it's not a great thing to know. That's why I guess I wasn't too aggressive with these. It's better to wait for that market bell. I like that about the Thinkorswim platform. I'll keep looking this stock. It wouldn't be too bad of a dip buy, but I want to do it at the market open. That's pretty sketchy. I did have done it after the market open, maybe, but that's a nice crack right here. This stock is starting to look pretty bad. Now let's see how it does with 3, but I don't necessarily want to trade this very much anymore. Still not too off from the highs, but again, we have to take into consideration it's a bad sushi chart, and lots of previously big volume days have been traded, so I'll just have to keep watching, as well as the other stocks, and if there's any number 5 setups for the OTCs. Okay, it's 9:38 a.m. and I have zero clue if I traded this stock or not. ARBKF, I went ahead. I bought at 24. I did. I don't know. I don't have headphones on, so if TD Media Trade's saying stuff or making noises, I'll have no clue. But I bought at 324, waited because it cracked 330, Didn't like it, kind of held 330, but I thought, alright, well that's going to probably initiate a whole bunch of stop losses, and it did. It brought it to the 24s, and then I went ahead and took a buy once the level 2 looked a lot stronger like it is right now. Bought at 324, at least in theory. I clicked, buy the ask. The flattened position button became available, so I'm gonna assume that worked. And then, it started moving this uptrend, and then I sold at like 34 because it was struggling here with a bit, it was struggling, and I kind of had some fears that, some issue, it could turn around from here and downtrend some more. It would have a nice juicy gap to fill right here between $3.30 and $3 that I know it would just love filling. So it's doing it now nicely, even more at 46, but I wasn't able to wait through that just because of this right here. Kind of scared me out of it. You have to imagine it was here, then it went here, then it dropped 30. I guess it wasn't bad because it held 30, but in the moment it seemed a bit scarier. Next candle it dropped. I guess it was a bit of an uptrend. I probably should have focused more on that, but now it's time to figure out if I actually traded anything because I have zero clue if it worked or not. I did 300 shares in theory. In theory, bought around 24ish. Maybe it was 26 because it was on the ask. I don't know. And then I sold at roughly 34. At least I think I did. So I'm gonna have to see. Maybe TD immediate trade gave me the shittiest execution and I didn't buy till the 30s. I don't know. I'll have to see. I'm gonna check right now. But this is a nice number 5 that's working. The other stock that I was debating, because they both kind of fell at the same time, was BCII. I just liked, was that it? Did I type it wrong? There we go, BCII. Is that real? Nice. Yeah, I debated between this one and BCII. Looks like BCII might have been better. A little scarier. I kind of chose the other stock, this one, because it traded more volume than BCII, so that's kind of why I traded. ARBKF, at least in theory, if I traded it. Now in the 50s, I would definitely be selling here. I think because the candles are just looking smaller here than they were down here. Yeah, in theory, bought at 24, sold at 34-ish. 300 shares, $900 something position. Probably maybe lost money with commissions, but yeah, let's see now. I'll make an update of what actually happened, if I even traded the stock. I think I did, but I'm not sure at what prices. Very sketchy, because I just thought that, I would place a trade and right here would show the order status. That's not at all what it did. And I also missed this nice spike. Oh, it looks like it didn't do much with RETO. Just had a crazy spike, and I said, alright, well, if it makes a confirmed break out over this level, that wouldn't be such a bad trade. CLSN is fading. This was a nice setup. Imagine still being here in the 350s. Probably could have been a little stronger, seeing that it was holding 330. Not bad. I did much better than what I remember myself doing, at least in theory. Let's see if I actually traded it, and if I traded it, at least if TD immediate trade didn't screw up the position. Let's find out. Okay, it is 9:43. I'll tell you what, I feel a bit better, even though this thing is spiking without me. My TD immediate trade seems to have traded it well. Very sketchy, because I didn't like, it's nothing, literally nothing here showing. It just zero clue if you're in the trade or not. It was almost like a paper trade. Yeah, it says I bought at 326 and I sold at 336, which is nice. It said I'm up $30 on the day. That's pretty impressive, because I know you have to pay like $16 in commission, so I'll have to see the exact numbers and check, probably on the website. It will make more sense there. Very sketchy that nothing here will pop up, but I guess I'll have to find out exactly how to configure it. Oh, I guess it's here. Shit. Alright, I guess I'll look at this. Triggered. I'm triggered. Alright, that's pretty cool. The best part about this is that I could have made way more money had I sold in the 370s. A bit of a stretch. This is like my first number 5 pattern that didn't turn out to be shit. The first two trades were ALPP, and that stock was kind of like a little fakey stock, so it would kind of bounce a little in downtrend and then bounce later. And then the other one was, I think, BLOZF, and that one would have worked out, but E-Trade just screwed me there, and then it led me to this whole fiasco with opening an IB and TD immediate trade account for the better. And now this is the first actual number 5 pattern that works. So, you know, if tomorrow the OTC market craze has died off, I can at least say I nailed in one number 5 pattern out of all the number 5s that were provided, and there's probably some more right now. I knew CYDY was gonna probably do one, and I did not trade it because it was because of bad news. I had bad news. I think I had bad news, so there's no point of me trying to number 5 pattern something that has bad news. I guess in theory there's gonna be people who don't know about the news and they just see, you know, Black Friday discount. This is nice too. 387 to 450. That's so crazy because I didn't even know if I was in the trade or not. It's probably why I held better. And then looks like another one, AITX, is down 14%. This one never really does the number 5 very nicely, at least compared to the others. And you know, I don't think people who want to dip buy into this, at least in theory. I'll keep looking to see if there's any more number 5 patterns to look at. This one did not work out too nicely. I liked it. You know, ARBKF number 5 pattern, obviously OTC. It was its first like major down day, if you ask me, and it worked out nicely, over $1, so it's not hella sketchy to trade. It worked out. I'm up 33 bucks on the day. I'll go ahead and take a closer look and the commissions and all of that, but I'm pretty happy that I at least got one of these nailed in. Okay, it's 9:49 a.m. Yep, it looks like I bought at 325 and I sold at 336. Pretty impressive, and this stock, as you might know, is now in the 370s. It might even try to touch 380. I think it did on one. Yeah, it touched 380. Pretty impressive. So obviously it didn't take the meat of the move. And let's see, I bought at 35, sold at 38. So of course, big brain, right at the little, right at the reversal. And then I sold right here in this, I guess right before it got really right before it broke that 330-ish level. Pretty impressive. Of course, you know, it got to the 80s, but considering this was my first actual number 5 where it all worked out, in theory this was pretty nice, except for the fact that I had zero clue if I was trading it or not. And does it charge fees? I don't know. Let's see what it says. I guess it doesn't say anything about that. I'll probably just do the math and see if they charge commissions, but I think that they do with OTC. Still very nice. I guess up $33 on the day, and you know, it wasn't you know, some other ones. There was some other ones that I could have done again. CYDY wasn't bad either. It went from the 380s again to the 450s. That's pretty impressive. But I think ARBKF was better in terms of percentage gain, now in the 80s, the mid 80s. And then the other one is VCII, but again, this one I didn't trade because the volume was too weak. In theory it did it from the 14s to the 60s, but that would have been hella sketchy to sell into. I don't think it would have worked. So this is a pretty impressive one. And you know, it's funny because you see, you know, this was a nice trade and all, but it looks like, I mean, probably somebody, but it looks like nobody's really talking about this stock in the chat room. Did I type it wrong? ARBKF. No, I typed it right. You know, that goes to show you that you see all these people in the chat rooms talking about these stocks or whatever, and you know, that doesn't mean that they got it right. It's just everybody's talking about all these other stocks, AABB. I guess they're probably going to be very nice moves, but I don't. Yeah, I guess it was like a number 5 as well, although not as nice. No, it's pretty nice, but you know, it comes to show that maybe even if you're trading something that literally nobody is talking about, doesn't mean you don't know what you're doing. Yeah, the last message was literally the 19th, so that comes to show, even though it did such a nice number 5 pattern. Alright, gonna call it off here. I'm gonna look at more stocks. If there's any more number 5 patterns, I have 2 day trades left on TD. Immediate trade for OTCs. Okay, it's 10:05 a.m. I can't find any other setups, and that's fine if I don't. RETO is just fading, CLSN is fading, they both faded. Yeah, I like trading listed stocks, but OTCs really are the ones providing the setups. Turns out I made $33 on that trade, but each TD immediate trade charge is $6.95 in and out, so I'm still up like 19 bucks on the day. Traded 300 shares. I think it was pretty good considering everything I've been through in terms of struggling to trade OTCs, and of course, you know, me not really being as comfortable with OTCs as I am with listed stocks. And again, all the setups are with the OTCs, or at least if there's a nice listed stock, there's like 5 OTC setups that could have worked out. So that's the way it is right now. Again, a very nice one. I liked it again because this one was not like under $1. It was well over $1. The volume was well. It was a nice runner-up, right? 393 from, well, it looks like, oh, okay, like in the teens, you know, in terms of pennies, right? And it had a very nice drop. Cracked 330 just by a little. Probably triggered some stop losses. You know, just led to a little more selling. Nice spike as high as the 394s. So that's impressive because I sold at 36, I bought at 25. This one really worked out, and I just broke this level here, but it went as high as it did right now. It's still red on the day, but barely. I mean, it's a very nice comeback, a very strong comeback. And I guess one thing to note when it comes to trying to find where the bottom could be, you always have to look, at least what I do right now just to record, is look at a 14-day chart to have some kind of an idea. Level 2 is very important. There were some times where, okay, it looks like it could actually bounce, but nope, big guy on the ask is not letting it break through, and it just continues to fall, people dumping on the bid. Once the bid looked stronger, slightly cracked 330, so maybe triggered some stop losses. And then on top of that, you look at the downtrend, you look how big this candle is. This one doesn't show any red, but you know, look how big it is, look how it's smaller. The candles are getting smaller. Of course, it's not, you know, an exact science, right? Like we had a small candle here, but then boom, we went back to bigger candles. But it can help in terms of, you know, odds of whether it's going to be a successful setup or not. So I took a buy in 35 and I sold at 36. In theory, now I could have held probably longer, just because at the time I wasn't too sure about it, but it was holding. This is almost like a confirmed breakout over 330, where it broke it here, kind of went back to the level here after it was in the 334 level. It held, and then the next candle, smaller dip than the previous candle, nice spike from there. I'd say that's a pretty good setup. I'm gonna keep looking, but it doesn't seem like there are gonna be some other number 5s, at least that I want to trade. There were some that failed, like again AITX, that sketchy stock. Like again, kind of hard for people to want to dip by that. Yeah, I don't see any other ones. CYDY was that other one, but I didn't want to trade that one just because it was on bad news. But I guess in theory you could have done it. I've seen stocks that have a financing right and then they do a number 5 setup. Even listed stocks have done that. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep looking those setups right here. Looks like ALPP had a number 5 too. 680, not as good as the other ones, but it did one. I'll keep looking, but if there's no more setups, it's totally fine. I got one trade in, and it was at a pattern I'm not too, experienced with, and OTC stock. Okay, it's 10:37 a.m. I haven't seen any more setups that I just truly like, and also just kind of taking it easy because I did have a pretty good trade, so I just want to digest it, really my mind, just really think about it, maybe overthink it. But AABB, just this is like waffles, it's like that thing from LX21 where he just brings up that Family Guy episode where they were all just trading waffles. Like, everybody's trading this stock on the chat. I mean, I understand why. I had a nice dip here, broke the level. It went from 32 to 39, but people still traded it once they got here, and I think this was just a bit less consistent. But if I had to make sense out of it, the 40-cent breakout right here, nice and official. Uptrended to 43, 10% move, almost down to 40, held 40. This is a dip by opportunity. I think Michael Good actually bought here, which was impressive. And it spikes to 42, 5% move, not the best. Kind of held itself together, and now is looking like it's going to be breaking a day high again in the 43s. Not the original breakout, but it is a breakout on a breakout. So I understand the whole idea with that. I think only one person mentioned ARBKF, which to me was a so much nicer setup, from 324 right to 395. That's just, I think, better, easier, better price range. But it's just opinions. CLSN doing this, cup and handle thing, if you want to call it that. I actually saw it when they did here, putting up somewhat of a higher low. Didn't really look forward anymore to see if maybe it could be something I could get into, maybe to buy the follow-up higher low if it does it. And quite frankly, there's not much range, even if I were to have traded it. Again, just not the best market, I guess, for listed stocks, and the overall market's just at where it was last time I mentioned. It's still down 0.70%, so it's gonna have some kind of an effect. RATO isn't doing anything that I want to trade. It's not looking that nice. And then the other stock that I removed, XELB, I believe, yeah, just continue to fade. It didn't do anything. So 10:39, I'm gonna call it off. Maybe I'll jump in and out, but seeing if there's any setups to trade, but there probably won't be. Looks like AABB did break out this level. I see why people will trade that. I don't know, it just seems like too many people are looking at it, but it's doing nice. I mean, I can't argue with that. It broke the level again. For how long, I don't know, but it did it. Not the original breakout, but a breakout over a breakout. And yeah, just a nice setup with ARBKF. A lot could have been learned. I got better at it. First real trade that I actually made money with, doing the number 5 setup. $33 gain, but after commissions $19, so still pretty nice. Could have been way worse. And now I learned that if I try trading with here at TD Immediate Trade, I have this guy right here, so I have an idea of the order status. I can't believe that wasn't something I knew earlier. So yeah, I'm gonna call it off. I'm gonna configure more stuff, gonna study, work on my business, and yeah, just a pretty good trading day. Pretty happy that I actually nailed one of these number 5s. Not nailed it as in I traded it perfectly, but I actually traded one profitably.